said the line yet.
What's the line? What's the line?
Oh, he's announcing the speeches. His bit isn't a speech.
Hello! Speech time, everybody. We have a few speeches, you guys. And first up, we have the father of the bride, the lovely Guy Cosnahan. Let's welcome him to the microphone.
Sit down, guys. Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. Oh yes, humorous icebreaker. Right, next one then. Apparently I meant to say thank you for coming. Surprisingly, we supplied free food and booze. It's not surprising you turned up, really. No, thank you very much, all of you, for coming to this wonderful event tonight and this evening and this afternoon even. Yes, I'll get myself together. Don't worry, Jamie, it gets worse. And observation. I don't know how you felt about the wedding, but I didn't see a lot of it, to be honest, because we were stuck in this pew with no visibility. But from what I've heard from you lot, it was really amazing, was it?
Yeah.
Apparently, as father of the bride, I meant to make some comments about giving my daughter away. Yes! 1 down, 2 to go! Yes!
You're not going to give Thomas away,
Excellent words about the bride. Doesn't she look nice? I think actually she looks really stunning. You're the only one allowed to get out today.
Oh.
Apparently they met some time ago. Oh, it says happy couples, romance and relationship. Apparently they met some time ago, quite liked each other, and now they're here. What more can I say? Apparently Kieran has more to say. Affectionate words about the groom. Yes. Well, I really like Jamie. I actually like Jamie so much that I have warned him and said to him, Jamie, it's not too late. But sadly, it is now. The only thing that disappoints me about him is his profession. I know he hasn't really got one yet, but you know he's chosen to be an electrical engineer of some sort, and he likes Apple Macs. Well, I really wanted Esther to marry an archaeologist. I really thought that would be the perfect profession for her to marry. Because as she got older, he'd appreciate her more. The old ones, they say, are the best, but it didn't work. Words of wisdom. Am I in a state to give any words of wisdom? It's tough out there, folks. It's an act of the will being married. Love is an act of the will. Get on with it, and you'll enjoy it, and it will be so rewarding. The best decision I ever made, and I'm sure every married person here will say the same. Closing lines and toast. Oh, I've got to get some more. May God bless you in all the roads He takes you. May He take you through fruitful pastures, and in the difficult times may they bind you closely together. That in His love and His will you may endure together to the end. God bless you. The bride.
Let's hear it for Guy. of the hour, my big bro, very big bro. It's Jamie Willis, let's hear it.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming. That's better. When I first met Esther, it was at a gig. When I was long-haired, a bit freewheeling. I was in a rising local rock band. Now, I'm still long-haired, but I'm a bit of an Excel nerd. I'm a university student studying electronic engineering with a rather apparent obsession for a certain electronic company. But I must have done something right, 'cause she still said yes. So that's why we're all here now. God really put my nerves to rest this last few weeks when he was saying, on many occasions, it's not too late. But I think the last joke's on him, because I actually married this amazing daughter, so... It's great to see so many of you here today. And I do want to thank you for all your amazing gifts. I think Facebook saw its page hits like go down for the first month as me and Esther were frantically checking the John Lewis gift list more than even Facebook for this last month to see if anyone bought us new things. It was so exciting. But thank you for the people who've also brought things today. They're really generous. But in all seriousness, Esther, you have made me so incredibly happy. I could not imagine facing life without you. And I love you so much. And I'm so indescribably excited about spending the rest of my life. I know Esther wants to say a few thank yous of her own, so I won't do too many thank yous, but I do want to say thank you to my parents and Esther's parents, who we would not have been able to do all this with. And thank you for your support. Yeah, without. Big words. Thank you for your help with the amazing wedding that we're having today, but also with our whole lives. You've been so great as we were dating as an awkward teenage couple, and as we've grown up together, as we're now married. So thank you so much. My band sadly isn't together, but I'm still playing bass. And as many of you probably know, I still like to step up to the microphone sometimes and spit a few rhymes. I guess I've got a microphone now. So I'll finish this speech the only way I know how. Now, Esther C, you're Esther W. You're stuck with me for life. I hope you thought this through. Now, Kieran, in your speech, don't be too cruel. I know you have embarrassing stories from school, and college, and tour, and church. And maybe Kieran shouldn't do a speech at all. Now, Esther, you're looking absolutely stunning. But don't start on politics, you'll send us all running. So, come on everybody, let's stand and have a toast to my beautiful wife, who I love the most. Now come on everybody, let's have some drinks and have a dance. But do be careful, don't tread on the plants. I'd like to wrap this up by thanking my rents for all their time and their patience, and all the money they spent. So please raise your glasses and let's toast once more to my beautiful parents, they are beautiful. To my amazing parents and my parents-in-law.
Let's hear it for Jamie! Love it. Right, and now we have a few words from the main girl herself, if I'm right. So let's hear it for Esther Cosnahan. She's out here.
I didn't want to make a real speech, just to say thank you so so much for everyone who's been here, because everyone that is here has supported us in some way over the last 7 years, by the way, Jamie. 7 years. 7 years. Only been together for 3 though, so that's excusable. Thank you so much. We've had so much help in the setting up of the wedding, and not just the wedding, but in our lives in general, and we could not have done it without any of you, so thank you. And also, I can't remember what I was going to say. Thank you. I'm so happy. That's it. Cheers,
Lovely. Now we have a few words from Esther's grandpa, John Bradbury. Let's hear it.
Well, this is to be in praise of Esther, because we've known her for some time. So it's really good to be able to be here on this occasion to see this, because for us it's the first of our 9 grandchildren who are potentially marriageable. I can select a few others for you if you're interested. So it's a historic moment really for our family anyway. Esther's mother of course comes, and it's really starting the basis of a future new generation. So we look forward to that. We got to build on the past, but for a very exciting future. There's one serious thing I've got to say, and that is that regarding Esther's characteristics, that she is certainly a hard worker. We have known this throughout her more recent years, teenage years and above, and she always has earned much of her way. Maybe not quite all of it, but and she's turned that work to her credit as well at university with her degree. So that is something which Esther can look back on. And another thing is about Esther, I believe, is that she's got a real heart for the poor and for those who are less fortunate in their life circumstances than perhaps she has been in most of us probably. So that's another really good feature, Jamie, you'll, I'm sure, find out about Esther. She's also what you might call a retail expert. Some of her work has been in that area, and we've often wondered, given the size of her own wardrobe, why that there are any clothes left at all in Debenhams for sale. But there we are, she's a retail expert. She's also something, now you mentioned excess spreadsheets, and you will certainly need a column in there for what Esther calls grooming. Grooming, I think, is something which will has certainly been in Esther's budget for some time, but that's just something you might like to bear in mind, Jamie, about her. She's also a young girl who wears her heart on her sleeve. I think you always know what you get with Esther. And one of the instances about that we were very happy to see, we were privileged to see, was one day in our own garden when there was a bit of a party and people had balloons and the children were playing with balloons, and Esther went out into the garden with hers, and at that moment there was quite a strong puff of wind that lifted this balloon she was holding on a string completely out of her hand. So the balloon went trailing up and up and up until it was quite out of sight in the sky. Esther, running around distressed at this loss, and ended up by saying, "I will never be happy again." So Jamie, I saw you. So, a few months ago, someone gave to Esther and Jamie a scriptural verse about the Lord building the house, which was to refer to their future companionship together. And I know they will want to abide by that and not have their labour spent in vain, but to build their own house together. What wasn't mentioned was that particular psalm goes on to refer to the happy man having his quiver full, and that is variously described as having 5 quivers or 7 quivers, but certainly you will be needing to fill up your quiver check with Esther, and living in happiness with you. So there we are. We do praise you, Esther, and we think you've won a great prize here.
That's it for John. That's great. And now we have this boy. Yeah. Hello.
Can't hear you.
Right, before I start, actually I have a quick message from relatives who sadly couldn't make it. Peter Oaken family, who send their greetings to all Pommy kinfolk. They say, "Dear Jamie and Esther, we would very much like to send our congratulations and wish you much happiness and joy, not to mention lots of luck on your big journey. Have a great day, as I don't doubt you will. Much love from all of us down under, Pete, Lynn and family." We will, of course, in the spirit of the occasion, raise a glass to toast the happy couple at the approximate hour on this side of the world and look forward to a detailed account of events in due course. Take care and love to all the kin, the Oz Connection. Right, good evening everyone. Good evening. Jamie has suggested that with the number of speeches that we're making today, I should keep this short and sweet, but I am afraid that before I'm finished I will have had my say, seeing as he has allowed me this chance. Jamie and I have known each other from a very young age, from way before I can remember, but I'm led to believe that we went to the same birthday parties in Acknell Lower School. And my memories really start from when we were about 9 or 10. My earliest is actually of Jamie having a mishap with a box file and cutting his hand open. He might be 6 or something. Yeah, you do. I remember thinking, wow, this guy's odd. After getting to know him, I realised just how true first impressions are. Jamie, you're wonderfully odd. Our friendship properly kicked off when we went to secondary school, and my mum told me that I was to call in at Jamie's on the way so that we could walk in together. So, cheers, Mum, this is all your fault. Obviously, the striking thing about Jamie was always the sheer size of him, and that much hasn't changed. I've been told since how ridiculous Jamie and I looked, walking down the road together, little me and big him. Being 12 years old and having size 12 feet is fairly unusual, and meant that he was able to act both his age and his shoe size at once. Cheers. At secondary school I made a friend in maths class by the name of Steve. There he is. Who invited me to start a band with myself and another friend. Without a bass player, we were inevitably an empty shell of a band, wandering aimlessly through chords and choruses. Until I had a bright idea. I know a guy, he'll do for now. So Jamie came along, and that was that. But to be honest, he was a bit rusty. 10 years later, he's learnt a few more techniques, but somehow you still have no sense of rhythm. So in the beginning we were called Area 51 because aliens are rock and roll. And then we were Infliction with a K because that's rock and roll. Backwards K. Backwards. And then we were Cult Personality because Russian history is mega rock and roll. Originally no one wanted to sing, and we'd very quickly banned Jamie from having a microphone in case he broke into one of his infamous raps. So thank you. But Steve bravely stepped up to the mark until we got a real singer. in the form of a prepubescent Josh. Joe joined our ranks a little while later, but it feels great to all be in the same room again. As we progressed through school and college, the band became our focus in our lives, and suddenly exams, education, they seemed less important. Our time was filled with writing, touring and recording until a new love came into Jamie's life. He got an iPhone. Jamie and Apple have always had a very special relationship. So the choice of table identification today doesn't surprise me at all. No matter how busy we were on tour, Jamie would always find time to watch the Apple keynotes announcements, just in case, heaven forbid, he found out about the latest products after the rest of the world. Now it appears we've all jumped to the bandwagon. As I said, the band remained central in our lives right through school and college. And when we signed a production deal and had a looming record contract, we became convinced that we were to become a rich and famous rock stars, and so needed a more appropriate name to reflect our ambitions. So we came up with the name Open the Skies. Clearly not everyone took this seriously, and we were bombarded with a list of mocking alternatives, such as Open Your Flies, Soap in Your Eyes, Orb and Disguise, and Automotive Supplies. We became full-time musicians, got ourselves a record deal from a questionable character, travelled the UK, went across to Europe a couple of times, and I'm sure you agree with Jamie, we had the time of our lives. We got to know Jamie really well during this time, and I believe there are just a few things that you should probably know about him and our relationship with him. I'm convinced that half the fun of the band was winding Jamie up and making him think that he was losing his mind. I have to give credit to him for the amount that he has and continues to put up with, because we really have given him hell. And you can all rest assured that this was only amplified last weekend for his stag. We like to call it wrong love. We don't really know how to express our love for Jamie, and so it comes out in the form of poking and prodding him and seeing how far we can push it. We learned early on the exact techniques to make sure Jamie fell asleep on the way to our shows. It seemed to be any music with particularly loud and fast drumming. If we pushed the volume up, you could guarantee that by the time we hit the M3, Jamie would be sound asleep. Exactly the way we wanted him, in order to wake him up in horrific ways. Megaphone, waxing strips, you know, sort of thing. He reckons we've taken years off his life because of that. We played a music festival in North Wales, and late one evening, after we had enjoyed a few drinks, we decided to watch a band from the comfort of the seats at the back of the venue. The long day, alcohol, and of course the loud drumming were enough to send Jamie into a deep slumber. And so he was completely unaware of the fact that we decided to sneak away and leave him there to face the elements on his own. We went back to our chalet. A couple of hours later, a very intoxicated Jamie burst through the door and exclaimed, "There you are!" He had apparently woken up to find that the lights were on, the stage had been dismantled, and the staff were cleaning around him. He became over-friendly with the bin, left to find his way back to our chalet, which with his sense of direction and hazy mind was no easy task. In subsequent years he was force-fed carrots, drawn on, drenched, ignored, detuned, declothed and left behind. But for a second I thought we may have crossed the line after he took a couple of weeks off for a family holiday and ignorantly entrusted us with the care of his bass equipment. In his absence we spent our practice time wisely, gaffer taping every single one of his leads, cables and pedals together and then to the inside of his flight case, so that they were completely unusable. The first time Jamie found out about this was after he returned, when he opened his flight case to soundcheck at a venue in London and realised the error of his ways. He stood up, told us that he needed a minute on his own, walked around the corner and screamed at the top of his voice. This apparently was enough to subdue his distress. He composed himself, returned, to systematically unwrap all of his belongings over the subsequent hours. We travelled all over the place and met a lot of people, but inevitably there were a few strange characters that started following the band around. We began to notice one of these characters popping up more often, in person and in conversation, a delightful girl named Esther. But she was a bit different. She seemed to be interested in the bassist, in Jamie, and we were baffled. Well, she was into him and he was definitely into her. But you all know how laid back Jamie is. He wasn't doing what the man should do. He wasn't making the commitment. So at one band practice we gave him a swift kick and a lesson in how to treat the ladies. And he did what he should have done years ago. So in a way you can thank us for today. Jamie and Esther, from those days your relationship has grown and flourished, and I think we can all agree on just how good you two are together. Jamie, to have found someone that can not only put up with your oddities, but to love them is a feat on its own, and I'm so happy for the both of you. We knew from a long time ago that today was inevitable, it was just a matter of when. We are delighted to be here with you, and it's an honour to be standing here as your best man. I know that 20 years from now, we'll all still be heading out down the Garibaldi on a Sunday evening for the pub quiz, reminiscing about the times of our lives, and I'm just so glad that you were both a part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please raise your glasses as we propose a toast to Jamie and Esther? Jamie and Esther.